So I don't know about you, but the first thing I do when I get in from work is put the kettle on. It is the Tuesday following bank holiday weekend, and I mean the bank holiday weekend at the end of May, not the one at the beginning. I've been at work today. I didn't get to film a tour over the weekend because honestly, I was just so engrossed in my gardening. And finally getting on top of the jobs in there that have been slightly overwhelming me. And I've got to tell you, I feel a whole lot better. A lot of progress has been made, and I can't wait to take you for a tour so you can see all the things that I've been up to since I took you around the patch last, near the end of April. So, it's Devon, so it's misty rain, drizzling. So hat on. Let's go for a tour of the cut flower patch. Hello, my name's Suzanne and I grow cut flowers which I turn into bouquets and arrangements which I then sell on my website. I grow on a really small scale, so you can't really call it a flower farm. You could call it a micro flower farm maybe, but it's a cut flower garden or a cut flower patch, and it's approximately 16 by 13 metres. And I grow on that size space because growing cut flowers for me is a side hustle, so it's not my main income, and I do it alongside a job, and I also do it alongside hobbies, like I have ponies and animals, I compete on my pony, and family going on. So for me, it may sound small, but 13 by 16 metres is ample, because not only that, I also garden in a cottage garden, which I suppose you'd call a medium-sized garden. And if I'm running short on flowers in the cut flower patch, I can, of course, turn to that to source some flowers as well. I am lucky that I do have extra space available to me should one day I decide to grow the patch and make growing cut flowers my full-time enterprise. But for now, the patch I have, although it seems small, it keeps me incredibly busy. Okay, we'll just pop my drink in the greenhouse a minute. Greenhouse is a lot emptier. Need to clean some trays and get all ready for some biennial seed sowing. Now, one of the first things I did over the weekend was replace my wildlife pond. So, this is a washing up bowl with a few little plants and a little rocks, and it's more of a bee place to have a drink than a wildlife pond. I'm not expecting to have newts or frogs or tadpoles or anything like that, but I do have lots of bees and I'd like to offer them somewhere to have a drink where they're not going to drown. And originally, somewhere in here, somewhere in the midst of these sting nettles is another washing up bowl, but I think even the savvy bee is going to find it a bit tricky to find that. So let's start right by the gate. We've got some poor sweet peas here that are just being completely lost and overwhelmed by this fabulous foliage, which you can see it's really airy and feathery. It's almost a bit like cosmos foliage. Oh, but the scent, I only wish you could smell it. This is my cola plant, really easy from cuttings. And what's happened, it's usually really upright growing, a bit like the upright version of rosemary, but for some reason it's all just collapsed over. So what I will do is, over the next couple of orders I've got for flowers, I'll make sure I sort of harvest this quite heavily now, just so those sweet peas can get a bit more light and get growing on a little bit better. I've got a red rose here, which I've had a long time, but I seldom cut from it, to be honest, mainly because I don't do a lot of reds, although I should, because it's an extremely popular colour for retail bouquets. And then in here we've got hiding Alchemilla mollis and a lot of weeds, but they're not weeds that bother me, so they can stay. This beast is a berry that my partner bought, and didn't really think about how big it was going to get. So to be honest, it's always a bit in the way, but it's just there and that's where it is. And then we've got, these are dianthus that were sown at this time last year. So I sowed them May, June. So these are fresh new ones, and you get a really good stem length on the ones in the first year. And then that coincides with the ones here, which are 3 years old now. And although some of them, I mean these pink ones here, they've still got pretty good stem lengths on them, you can just see how much better the fresher one looks. I mean, it's a biennial or a short-lived perennial. And I have actually got some more, I've got some more white and some more pink in another bed, which we'll look at in just a moment. Then I've got more things I grow for foliages. So this is a thornless raspberry. So obviously you wouldn't want to give somebody thorns. So they've got lovely smooth stems and, you know, lovely fit. I particularly like the small leaves at the top. To be honest, I strip a lot of the lower stems off for bouquets and keep these lovely sort of tips to the shoots. And then we've got pineapple mint here, and apple mint is something I'm harvesting a lot of at the moment. The ranunculus have pretty much had it now, so these will come up along with the anemones, and this will be Chinese asters in here. And providing the Chinese asters haven't been completely eaten by slugs and snails. Okay, we'll try and do this methodically. So I sort of showed you this bed when we were looking at the wildlife pond. So there's a lot of bracken in here, but I do cut it in the autumn, so I'm leaving it. A few more bits of dianthus. A lot of the feverfew like this is self-sown. The cow parsley isn't self-sown. I did actually plant it for the sweet rocket. And then the foxgloves are not quite what they're supposed to be. So I thought I had removed all the wild foxgloves from this patch, and I had planted from seed these ones, which are more this, you know, more usable pale pink. They're one of the salmon varieties. And anyway, this is what I've ended up with. So the plan is, when the bees have finished harvesting what they can from these, I'll chop the flowers off and just leave myself the leaves right at the bottom, and then I will try and transplant them into the cottage garden. And then I've got lots of self-sown calendula, particularly in the polytunnel, and I haven't really got anywhere to put it. So I think we'll pop those calendula in here. Usually I use calendula much earlier on in the year, but because I didn't autumn sow any, it's going to be interesting to see if I'll use these more at the latter end of the year or not. But if they've, you know, if they're growing in the tunnel, I just as well plant them somewhere and see how much I do miss them this spring. There's lots of things I'm not growing. Not growing cornflowers. Oh, so many things I can't even list them. Okay, we'll spin around. And this is the sweet pea arch, which you can see me make in a previous video. And you can see these sweet pea are doing a bit better. These ones this side are actually stronger, just because they're getting a bit more light. And the hellebores are behind here just to die down now. And then this is a hydrangea limelight. The euphorbia is just waiting, I don't know, to go to the cottage garden, I guess. And then we've got, this is again quite an old crop of achillea now. I have started some more from seed. So I probably will tidy this up a little bit in the autumn. You can see it's getting quite bare in patches. And then obviously we've got some more vigorous growth here. This is the feverfew, just the standard one. And then the much smaller ones, which was all sown at the same time, so it is interesting. These are the snowball and goldball, which I've never grown before, so it'll be interesting to see what they turn into, because obviously these are budding up. You can see I haven't pinched them, so at the moment they're one long stem, and when I cut that stem, they will then reshoot branch. Now these are the sedum, which I've taken out the sedums that I wasn't so keen on, and this is the sedum that I like, that I never know what it is, because I took it a cutting from a friend's garden. And these are the ones that give you the really nice long stems. You know, they're not too fat and squat and chunky. It's a lovely autumnal colour. A bit of Greek crest there. And then this is the Breezer media. So this grass is a perennial, and you can also grow Breezer maxima, which is this grass more on steroids. And I did grow maxima the last couple of years, but when I'm working with it, I just get it all tangled up and I pull all the seed heads off, and honestly it drives me a bit mad. I should be harvesting this. I'm just waiting for a bit of a break in the weather because I don't really want to harvest it while it's all wet. And then this dries beautifully. And you know, I prefer this because it's just a little bit more delicate. The Breezer, the seed heads are much chunkier. This is a Korean feather reed grass. Do you know, I don't know. I sowed this and threw the label away. I wonder if this is the annual Breezer. To watch this space and wait and see. I decided not to move my thyme, even though I don't really use it for cut flower. It's just so established, I think moving it would have really upset it. So we've just got that there as a cushion on the end. You can see I've still got some staking to do. I haven't quite got all of that done. This is my Veronica, and I believe this is a blue. I did have white at one point, but I think I may have lost that now. I think this is a Solidago, I think. If you know what it is, let me know. And then look at the difference in the Verbascum. Can you remember when we did the April tour? It was all this really red colour and it all looked really unhappy. Just look how it's all greened up. And in fact, I've got a few that I planted on the same day in a different bed, and they're like they're on steroids. It's obviously much more fertile. Oh, a weed. Oh, missed the roots. This is my loosestrife, gooseneck loosestrife, and this is, so it's Lysmachia, and this is the white, and I use this. Oh, there's more weeds. Look how look how this weed tries to blend in. Look at that. Get rid of that. And then I've got a gap here. There's some baby gladioli, but this is where I'm going to put the crimson loosestrife that I've sown from seed, but that's still tiny. It's in the greenhouse. I grew it once before and then I put it out too quickly and I lost it. So I'm going to mollycoddle these little seedlings a little bit longer before they go in that gap there. There's one of my patches of oregano, and then this is the obedient plant here. A few bits of toad flax dotted in here and there, and there's some more toad flax here and there. I used to have a bed of toad flax in here, but I deemed to give it a whole space it probably wasn't useful enough for that. Just having, you know, the few bits dotted around like that. There's some more over there. It's just much better like that, and then you've got odd bits if you need it. But nobody's gonna, if you sell a mixed bucket of flowers, you know, want huge quantities. Well, I don't think so, maybe they do, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, now here's one of my fails. I have lots of fails, and this is one. My Astrantia always has really short stems. Help! Is it because they're young plants, or is it because it doesn't like my growing conditions? Luckily, I use it an awful lot as a dried flower for wreaths. So actually, the stem length isn't the end of the world. But you know what? I'd love to put this, I mean, you could maybe just about get that one in a bouquet. I'd love to put it in a bouquet. So, any tips for me on how I can get longer stems on my Astrantia? Or is it just a case of the plant maturing? So we've got some self-sown poppies in here, so they'll probably be red. But again, they're the opium poppies, so fantastic seed heads for drying. This is my Achillea the Pearl. That's looking lovely. I use that an awful lot. And then this was overwintered Sahara Rebecca, but this is the only one that survived this year. So what I went ahead and did is I've put some echinops in here, which I've grown from seed. I hope to get them through because, again, for me, there's something else I can dry. So that's why I'm trying to grow them. And I have got a spare in the greenhouse. So this is my second patch of oregano, and actually, message to self, I usually Chelsea chop one of these, so that's the job I need to do. And the reason I do that is just because I don't need this and this much oregano all at once. So yeah, I usually chop half down so I can put that on to next weekend's things to do. Okay, so here we've got some more achillea, a bit of Greek cress, and this is my bronze fennel in here. My cerinthe is nowhere near. Oh, last year my cerinthe was twice as big as that and much healthier. But I did think about not growing it at all, so that's why I've only got three sorry plants on the end there. But actually I'm pleased I've got it. It is a lovely colour. I haven't pinched my snaps, so they're here. These, oh look, see, they get all heavy with water and then they flop over. I could pinch them and then take cuttings from, but I think now, because I mean that one started to bud up, I think I'll leave them, and then when I cut them they'll branch out after that. These are Levatra, and these are the ones I grew last year. So these are Silver Cup, which are not silver at all. I don't know why they're called Silver Cup. I think I felt a bit conned when I bought them and grew them because they're like quite hot pink. But they're looking lush is the word. Larkspur, I can't remember what colour this is. It's going to be either purple or red, but I'm not sure on that one. We've got our wild carrot, our Dorcas in here. And then look at the Ami. It's all starting to come together. These are the poppies that I sowed. These are going to be a lovely colour. In fact, these are going to be the colour that was really on trend in Chelsea. I didn't know it when I bought them. These are going to be the colour that was really on trend at Chelsea. I had no idea when I bought them just how on trend I am, but they're like a purpley colour, so I can't wait to see them. I mean, not that I'm growing them for the flowers, I'm growing them for the seed pods, but still be great to see them. Oh, look at, I always find, I don't know if it's just because it's been raining today, I did go around and weed all these beds, and look, sting nettles, dandelions, grass is one of the worst because that absolutely takes over. Anyway, moving on, I haven't got time to stop and weed. I've got dinner to cook. Some Phacelia here on the end. It's looking nice. And then let's get rid of these weeds and go in here. Hello. Ooh, it's nice in here. I've actually ordered some jute netting to do some supports in here. I've had a lot of trouble with the slugs in here for some reason. They have devastated some entire crops, unfortunately. So Didiscus, I loved it last year because it was a really fashionable colour. It was a proper blue, but really nice pale blue. It's all gone. I haven't got any spares. That's it. Forget it. Done. So I've just started filling that gap in with other things now. But I was a bit disappointed about that. The other thing that's all gone is Gomphrena. That was my fault. It was far too small to be planted out. I'm tempted to even try that again. I know we're getting late on, but if it's going to be in a tunnel, it might make it. So yeah, so I've lost the Didiscus and I have lost the Gomphrena. And my Gadisha, I can't blame it on slugs. It's still alive, but it's just so neglected that I can't see it recovering. I just left it in the pots for far too long. And actually, I've cut the tops off and put them in the hydropropagator to see if I can get some new plants that, you know, won't be a bad size, that I can grow on a bit healthier. So that's another job for the weekend, is to take some cuttings. So anyway, let's flip you around so you can see what's what. So this is the area that I tried to direct sow in my last video, and the trouble is there are so many other things, seeds in the soil, which are trying to come up. So I can see a whole load of this auroch. There's a calendula over there, another calendula there. But none of them look like the things that I want them to be. And certainly, although these ones have potential, these two, that's supposed to be gypsophilia apparently. We'll see. But anyway, you know, you're like me. I'm sure I can find some other plants to go in there if those seeds don't germinate. Okay, so we've got the poker status, pink pokers, and it's bolted because it's just got a bit too, again, pot bound. It didn't go out fast enough. But what I'll do is, these are, again, you can use these dried in wreaths, so I'll chop all these flowers off, give the plants a good water, and obviously they should grow on again and produce me some better flowers once they get going. These are all the self-sown calendula I'm talking about. I didn't put them in here. And then we've got, this is, oh, I've got to look it up. Oh, this is the fibre optic grass here. And then the celosia I've been nursing and struggling with are still alive, but they're still so tiny. This one's even got a teeny tiny flower bud on it, so I'm not sure I'm going to be giving any advice on how to grow celosia. In fact, if you have any advice for me, then yeah, I'd be grateful of some. And then this I'm growing for the first time is the argyratum. It keeps trying to flower, so I'm just pinching the tips off, but that actually is looking quite healthy. It's quite nice and green, and it's not growing too fast, you know, it's not getting leggy, it's looking pretty good. And then over here, these are marigolds, these are crackerjack, and then the slugs have been eating the Kilimanjaro, which is the white. Why they eat one colour over the other, who knows, but they do. I'm almost embarrassed to show you these. These are the gazetia. I mean, some of them you can see, they're not even properly divided, you know, that's several, oh, just awful. This is why my patch is only as big as it is, because if it was any bigger, all the plants would look like that. At least I've got some healthy plants. Okay, Bells of Ireland, I've got some outside as well. They've again been in the pots too long, but I'm hoping they will sort themselves out if they don't get eaten by the slugs. Bit of a gap here because this is for dahlia cuttings. I've got some in pots, and I've got a few more in the hydropropagator. And then look what's happening here. You've got the cheek to actually eat my dahlia on camera. Look away if you're squeamish. Sorry, I'm just going to leave him there as a warning to other slugs. So yeah, we're getting a little bit munched here, but it's the zinnias that have been taking the worst beating. I mean, look at that leaf. It's a proper feast on there. And I worry that this one's even going to make it out of the ground. You see, this is why I usually like them to have a bit more leaf growth on them, because, you know, if a slug keeps eating that, it's not going to have a chance. Have a look. Oh, look at my zinnias. These are my queen lime mix, and they're just being completely savaged. This one's not so bad, but I mean, look, if you wanted to pinch that out now, you couldn't. And again here, you couldn't pinch them out because it's all the lower leaves that are being eaten off of them. So I can't decide whether to pinch them out or not at the moment. Interestingly, they're worse down this end for slug munching. Oh, another one on camera. Oh, I can't squish this one. Oh, gross. That's nice. Sorry if you're watching it. Sorry if you're eating your dinner. Okay, and then we've got more zinnias up here. Funnily enough, that was the most expensive seed down that end, the ones that get munched. And these were the more budget packets of seed. Is that what they call sod's law, I believe? But hey ho, hopefully we'll get some zinnias anyway. Right, let's come back out here. Loving my polytunnel. And more of the thornless raspberries, got a whole long row there. And then this is my nursery. So these are, you probably can't see very well because they're under the environment mesh, and I probably will take this off at the weekend but there's ping pong scabious, there's everlasting flower, there is helicterum, paper daisies, statice, and then down here are the straw flowers. Last year I grew so many straw flowers, and I'm wondering if I'm going to regret not having so many, but I just decided I wanted to try some of these other dried flowers, so the helicterum and the paper daisy. I decided it didn't all have to be helichrysum, so we will see. Moving on, we've got roses, so this is that one that I'm waiting to see what it does. But this is the Joie de Vivre. It has quite short stems, but the smell is just unbelievable. And you know, you put that in a jam jar or a buttonhole and it's just amazing. This is my favourite one though, because it's quite resistant to rain. You know, even when you've had a lot of rain, it still looks pretty good. It has some not bad stem lengths on it, and this is Champagne Moment. So it's still got a nice fragrance, but not quite as good as the other one. And then I've put my grasses around my roses. So this is canary grass here, and then this one, oh, I did grow some Breezer Media. Well, there you are. I didn't realise I'd grown any, but apparently I have. So you can watch me when I'm doing some flower arrangements. You can watch me fighting and getting all tangled up with that at some point in the summer. So this rose is not quite there yet. You can just see the colour. This is Bonica, so pink. Yeah, more grasses down here. And then this rose, very similar to Champagne Moment, but this is Cream Abundance, and it just has that. It just has that on trend, slightly more apricotty centre, which is just coupled. When you couple that with pale blue, you know, if I had to discuss, or even some cornflowers, but actually it probably worked really well with the Celia and my Gilia. I should probably do an arrangement with that. That'd be lovely. Some forget-me-nots here, and then more grasses here. I think this is, I can't remember, who am I kidding? This is Panicum elegans. I've got a lot more grasses this year. Who's this? Oh, violet panic grass. This bed is another disaster area. I try to direct sow some stuff. It just doesn't work as well. I really need to start stuff in the greenhouse in trays, but I'll show you what we've got. So the Phacelia, obviously it's a green manure, so that worked really well. These are more plants that I've transplanted, and I didn't even, what am I doing? I've probably got time to direct sow that. It's Gilia, so I probably will, because I love the Gilia. But the Gilia that I've got, which I'll show you imminently, got sat on by the dog because it's all squished and ruined. But anyway, this, I don't even know what I sowed in here. Oh yeah, no I do. I sowed Amaranthus Uschberg. And look, I mean, it's just, these are auroch, so don't be fooled by those. There's like one there and one there. So I direct sowed whole rows and I've ended up with 2. So we'll put something else in there. This was, again, Greek cress, but for some reason I only had a patch germinate there, and you've got whole bare edges here and there. So more wasted space. This was my wild bird seed. And I just sow the wild bird seed because I like the wheat and the corn. But I've got those, whatever they are there, and then again, nothing. And then this actually was auroch, which has worked fine. But anyway, that's a bit of, sunflowers, I didn't direct sow them, I started them in the greenhouse. And then some more of that disastrous Gadisha. The less said about that, the better. So this end of the garden, and to give you a little bit of an overview, this is where I've been working over my bank holiday weekend. Ooh, it's got very windy. I hope you can hear me. And look, I've run out of stock fence, so I've had to use this you know, different gauge mesh, and I'm not even sure my amaranthus can grow through there, but we'll give it a go. So these snapdragons are later succession, and these are apple blossom. We've got amaranthus hot biscuits, some amaranthus red army, some more ageratum, and this is red flint. I'm not growing the blue. I wanted to have slightly different colours. Then this is some more bells of Ireland, and then this is my cosmos, which again hasn't been pinched. I've usually pinched stuff by now, but for some reason I just, you know, one thing or another, haven't got round to it. Some more apple mint here, and again these are some more sweet williams that I sowed last year. So I just did the pink and this beautiful white, and then I've got some rogue ones that are snuck in there. They're quite pretty. More achillea, my first succession of sunflowers, and these are my annual rudbeckias, Sahara, and oh, look at a slug over there. These are being a bit slug munched too, aren't they? Oh, look at this one, he's only got one leaf left. Oh, Sahara and cherry brandy is the other one that I've got. Look, sorry if if you're like a slug animal rights activist, I probably would not watch my channel, but I just won't use slug pellets. I want to give them a fighting chance. So, you know, if you're out at night when I'm in bed, you probably get away with eating some plants, but if you're gonna be brazen about it and just slither around when I'm out here, and especially if you're actually going to be on my plants eating them right in front of me, then I'm trying to work out if any of these have been eaten. 1, 2, 3. Well, that one's been very eaten. These are giant orange hyssop. I've always grown the purple one, the agastache, but these are orange, so I fancied a change. And this is the yellow achillea because I thought it'd be great for drying. These are my Shasta daisies, which I've moved over here because they, you know, I just thought I'd make this more of a perennial bed. I know technically the cherry brandy and the Sahara rudbeckias are not a true perennial, but they will sometimes make it through the winter, so I thought I'd give them a chance to go through this winter. And then look, oh, I grew these lovely white foxgloves from seed, but you know, they'd be great for weddings and events, but you can't really get that in a bouquet. Bit too big. Although some of them are coming out more manageable sizes, although he's a bit crooked. I haven't got enough support netting in here, so my fault. There's a scabious back there. I suspect that's white because I had white ones here last year. Some more Phacelia. Honesty is ready to harvest now, so I need to harvest that and dry it. And then the Canterbury bells, they're nearly here. They're just starting to show, so this will be a white one. This will be purple, I should have thought. I can't see any that look like they're going to be pink. But it is the mix that I sowed. And I sowed a mixture of the doubles and singles, so I'm not sure what I planted in here. And then spinning over here, this is one of the dahlia beds. And you can see I put one middle stake in, but I will put another stake this side and this side so that I can cordon these dahlias in. They're all much smaller than normal, and that's because for some reason I started them off differently. And you know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I don't know what I was thinking. So the ones that look great have been started the way I always start them, which is in individual pots. The ones that don't look great have been started in trays, and it's just a fail. I've learnt my lesson and I won't do it again. These were started from seed, so that's why they're so teeny tiny. And I mean, some of them, this has got a shoot, so I put it in the ground because it just wasn't really doing anything in the pot, so I'm giving it a fighting chance. But you can see the size differences here. You know, clearly this is the way to do it, in pots. And then spinning round, we've got more larkspur here. I think this is going to be, well, actually that might be red or purple, not sure. And again, different succession of larkspur here. Some more Dorcas, some dill. Love the smell of dill, really useful flower. I probably should have done another succession. This is a dwarf lavatra that I bought because the colour was pink blush, it sounded a bit paler, but I'm not sure how short dwarf is going to be, so we'll wait and see if the stem's going to be cuttable and usable or not. And then I've got some more of the pink poker status here, and then I've got some cynoglossum on the end here, and this is the pink cynoglossum. Now this bed is either going to work or it isn't. Okay, this was the bed that was just weeds. The weeds are still there. I have not done anything about it. All I did was stick a load of cardboard on top of the weeds, plant the dahlias into the cardboard, and then put some horse poo on top. So I don't know, this might be a disaster, but it was lazy gardening. But I'd done so well. Look, I'd been ticking off so many jobs, and I just thought I can make that look done. So I did it, and on my head be it if it doesn't work. Okay, and then we've got some sweet peas on the end here, and then this is all my alchemilla mollis here, different various stages. So these are my more mature plants, and then these are my babies. Peony is pretty much over now, and my baby peonies aren't going to flower this year. I have never had a flower off them, but they're still quite small. These ones had buds, but well, you can barely call it bud. They didn't really amount to anything, but you know, that's fine. I want them to get roots into the ground, and I want them to establish themselves. And then I've got some nigella here, and then over here we've got more snapdragons that are being abused by the weather. In fact, something looks like it's been digging here, and I'm tempted to pinch them out when they're flopping over like this, and then I could put the cuttings in the hydro. I mean, that one's being uprooted, but I could put the cuttings in the hydro propagator, and then I'd have another succession of snapdragons. These are more of the Chantilly, and these are the ones that we grew in Silver Grow and in B&Q, and honestly I didn't really notice a huge difference. These are scabious of various types. This is Salmon Queen, this is Summer Fruits, this is Fata Morgana. These are more marigolds. Look at the difference for the ones that are in the polytunnel compared to the ones outside. So these are more of the crackerjack. They just don't look as good, but we'll give them a go. And again, the Kilimanjaro are being eaten by the slugs. I don't know why. Slugs obviously like white ones. And then these are the crown daisies, which I've never grown before. But I haven't cut one yet to test vase life, but I'm going to do it imminently. But I quite like them. What do you think? It's something new to grow. Yeah, so I'll see what they look like in a bouquet. And then compost heaps, I've had a tidy. Another bed of mint. This is spearmint, chocolate mint. Tell a lie, this is more oregano, as if I haven't got enough already. Cold frames. Okay, be warned, if you don't want to see plants that are not looking at their best, look away now, because the cold frame is just full of plants that are being neglected. Look at these poor zinnias, they just haven't been watered. And oh, look at my beautiful phlox. But again, they need pinching, they need potting on, watering. Sunflowers are not looking too bad. And these are my China asters that I want to get in where the ranunculus, but look, they need watering. I need to do that tonight, otherwise they're going to be dead. And then in here is all my really neglected phlox. Last year I pinched it again, and it was brilliant. But this year I haven't pinched it, but I can't pinch it now because the slugs have eaten all the lower leaves. So if I pinched it, it'd have no leaves left on it. So I've sort of got to leave it all long and gangly, so I'm a bit annoyed about that. This is a mixed perennial bed, so we've got feverfew, Verbena boreensis, Achillea, more obedient plant, Achillea the pearl, some bronze fennel, some aquilegia. These are the vibascums that are planted the same day as the other ones. Look at them, they look like they're on steroids. And these are some more of those white foxgloves that I'm trying to con into flowering for me for a September wedding. So fingers crossed that will work. Oh, there's even a foxglove there. And then Greek cress I didn't stake, which is a problem because now I don't know. Oh, it is straight enough. I was thinking if I cut it, I mean, this is ready to cut now for drying, and then I'll sow some more Greek cress in here again. But oh, gosh, I just love it. Just look at these seed pods, just great. There's some more nigella there, some more larkspur there, some more phacelia, and then some candy tuft. And then this is what I love. But look, you see how the dog got in here, but this is a stem that's nice and straight. Look how good and strong this stem is. And this is this gilia. I've never grown it before and I'm in love with it. I just love the colour. I love the feathery foliage. It's got really good vase life. I will definitely be growing this again and I will stake it. I'll take better care of it. And this is going to be one I think I'm going to autumn sow. This is a new favourite for me. I really, really like this. It's just a shame. I mean, the dog just thought it looked all nice and cosy and just got in there. But I should have had it staked. So slap wrist for me. Okay. Oh, I've covered all the daffodils up just because it was getting a little bit unruly over here. And sometimes I need a bit of working area to put my buckets on my trolley. So I've put all my bits of carpet over here. And I use all of my carpet just over the winter to cover beds. I know it would be better if I planted cover crops and things like that, but for me it's just easier just to cover them and then come back to them in the spring. Okay, there we are. So anyway, I'm quite pleased with it all. I'm going to take a look at one of my own videos later. How sad is that? I'm going to look at my May tour from last year, because sometimes I just like to do a little bit of comparison on how the plants are growing on and how they're doing. So anyway, that's a couple, well, I say I'm going to watch that later, but actually I'm going to be editing this video later. I nearly forgot to show you my stock. They're not as good as last year, they're not as tall. But here they are. You just try and get the water off so you can see. They're in there, but yeah, they're not as tall as last year. But they're still quite strong and healthy. But they're not actually probably tall enough for a bouquet. And I think it's because I didn't get them planted out quickly enough. So again, it's all about not taking on more than you can manage and not having a bigger garden than you've got time to garden. And that's why my patch is only 13 metres by 16 metres, because if it was any bigger, I just wouldn't be able to manage it. Anyway, on that note, I'm going to say thank you very much for watching. If you do like my content, then you can subscribe so that you'll find out when more videos are coming out. If you'd like to contribute towards the making my channel, you can buy me a coffee, not a literal one, but there's a link for that in the description for this video. And if you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, because that really helps with the algorithm and it helps other people find my videos too. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.